How's everybody doing? Hey, Dennis here from Denny Bob's RC Conversions. Just kind of going to go over this little 688 case ERTL excavator. They were built back in the 1980s. It's a 16th scale. I started yesterday on doing this conversion. I'm going to kind of go through what I've done so far. Yes, I would love to do a step-by-step, but that would constitute me having to stop every time I turn around, take a little short video, and that's not me. When I get started on something, I like to go beginning to end and work my way through it. So I'm gonna show you kind of some of the parts that I've used and whatnot, and we'll go from there. Hopefully this kind of works. I started out with the 688 toy, and I'm going to turn the lights on just a little bit, get a little more brightness on this. I've gotten this far. I've got the motors mounted, 56 RPM motors. To mount the motors, I'm using some Servo City motor mounts, and I made the brackets to mount these mounts here. These sprockets are actually from Magom. They are for the Bruder 320 RC conversion that they do. Will work just perfect for this. I got to make idlers and spring tensioners and idlers under here, and a couple of track idlers on the top yet. I haven't gotten that far yet, but this is what I've gotten so far. This is the turntable I used to do the slew. It's right here. And then I have to get everything perfectly centered. And then I've got a 48 tooth gear here. I have to order a 9 tooth pinion so that it will fit in this slot around here. The 10 tooth was too big, so I'm going to go with a 9 tooth. And I'm going to run that with another 56 RPM motor. So that will bring that down to like a 5-to-1, so it's 56 RPM. So figure roughly 10 RPMs is what that'll end up being when it gets down to gear reduction. Roughly right in there. And that's what I mounted this motor. I'm going to actually have to change the mounting of this motor. I'm going to have to do a completely different plate because that bolts right up to here. And then that gear will mesh this gear here. And I have to change this now that I dropped from a 10 tooth to a 9 tooth. I have to move everything. So the gear setup that I used there, I also bought from Servo City, and I have it. This is bolted down to the main chassis. And then I have this gear, and then I have this hub, so it's all bolted through. And then I countersunk the bottom of this so that it would bolt flat. And then I have the bolts coming up from the bottom and actually are holding my slip ring or brush holder, whatever you want to call it, that I bought off Amazon. It's a rotary brush holder, 4-wire brush holder. And then I will get to the point where I'll run the wires out to motors. I'll get there eventually. I'm not going to get no soldering, none of that stuff yet done. But yeah, this was the 10 tooth pinion gear that I was going to run, but it's too big, won't fit in here. The 9 tooth, I got about 370 thousandths here. The 9 tooth is 346 thousandths outside gear width, so it should fit in here and go around, you know, and not cause any problems there. I'm hoping, anyway. Wouldn't be the first time I've gotten so far on a project and then just had to stop. But in order to get this, I actually took the back half of this and cut it off. And what I'll do is make that hinge so that I can access. As you can see, I'm not going to have a whole lot of room for stuff in here. So I want to do the boom and everything hydraulic. So I'm going to have to find a small hydraulic pump and maybe even make my own reservoir to fit in here. Granted, when I get this on there, yeah, there is some room under there. I've actually had to relieve some stuff for this motor. I've had to relieve in here, and so everything fits. But I did all that relieving with the motor mounted where it's at now. I may have to change that yet. We'll see how things go. But and I'm going to use tracks off a Huina 580. I've got several sets of these, so I'll get my tensioner up here, get my idlers on. That's probably what I'm going to work on today, is getting the idlers done and try and figure out what I'm going to do here for a tightener. Yeah, I'll either use a tightener or I'll just put an idler in there, and the track tension will be what the track tension is. We'll have to see how that goes. I may end up having to cut these all completely off and totally re-engineer something. But anyway, that's where I'm at so far on this case 688. The one thing I am going to have to do is basically, this is a die cast metal arm. I'm going to go in here, and they got these simulated cylinders, and I'll go and I'm going to machine all this off, and I'll machine that off, and machine these completely off so they're not there anymore. And then I'll have to sit down and figure out, I've got to make the mechanism here for the bucket to go, and figure out what I need for a stroke cylinder here, and 2 cylinders here, and figure out what I need for a stroke there, because the boom bolts right up to that. So that's what I got done so far. Yes, I'd like to do one of those step-by-step videos, but as I go along, I don't have time to stop and take video after video after video and picture after picture after picture. I just don't have time for that. You know, hopefully some of this kind of, maybe it'll give you some kind of inclinations. I don't think too many people are probably going to ever do this particular model, but it may give you some ideas on how to do another one. Whether this whole idea is going to work yet or not, I don't know. I guess I'll find out. But we'll see. And then I'll have an ESC that runs that, and I'm probably just going to use 1060 Hobby Wing ESCs to run this and both these, so I'll have 3 ESCs in there. Then I'll have to have an ESC to run the pump and everything else too when I get around to it. And then I'll have to run all the, I kind of want to go hydraulic, because I can, the hydraulic cylinders are so much smaller, but then you got to run hoses, so there's pros and cons to doing it either way. So we'll see how it goes. I kind of wanted to stay away from linear actuators, just for the simple fact is the realism. This will be my actual first hydraulic conversion that I've ever done, other than my Magam conversion that I did. But we'll go from there and see what it goes like, and hopefully it all works. I'll try, when I get a little bit further on, I'll do a little video on some of the stuff that I've added and whatnot. So, but everything seems to be going along pretty smooth. Not bad for a Saturday job. Just gotta order more parts on Monday, and hopefully they get here sometime next week. I kind of get too many projects started at one time. I need to get through and finish one at least. Well, hopefully it helps a few people out, kind of get figured out what I'm doing and whatnot, but is what it is, people. Have a good one.